If you have questions, concerns, and are just lost when it comes to planning for retirement, meet Steve Hoyle and Derrick Caldwell of the Hoyle Financial Group. You know, it's estimated that 1 in 10 people getting divorced today are 65 or older, and the costs are steep. A recent study says a man can expect his standard of living will decline by 21% after the divorce, and a woman's standard of living will plunge by 45%. Both will see their wealth decline by half. So when clients come in saying that they plan to divorce, what are some common issues that you tend to help with?
Total replanning. I'll tell everybody listening, it better be worth it. You heard what Jess said there, 21% for males, 45% for females. And most people have to start over. You know, state of Texas is a community property state. So no matter what, half your money is going towards your ex. Mm-hmm. So, you know, if you have $1 million in that 401k that you're planning to rely on, well, now you have $500,000. So the catch up is quite extensive, and there's a lot of things you can do to recover from that given sufficient time. But you got to start with a whole new plan. You know, we basically scratch everything in half, and we also talk about further things like kids, grandkids, things like that you have to, maybe you were the breadwinner in the family, mm-hmm. and now all of the, you know, college fund is on you versus, you know, your wife participating in some of that as well, or husband. So there's a lot of factors that go into that, and you have to do proper planning and get that done. But I'm actually surprised just by that 1 in 10 people over 65. You know, me and my wife have been married for 17 years. I'm 40 years old. She's stuck with me.
That's what I'm thinking. 65 or older, don't you think you'd be like, listen, we'll figure something out. But going through the whole divorce is way too much money and time and effort. But, you know, some people go through it. And when they do, as this says, just be prepared for your wealth to decline by half for both parties. Steve, you see this a lot. Talk to me.
I think the big thing is, Jess, is people work all the time. They're never home. They never see each other. And all of a sudden they both retire and they both think, we can't stand each other. I mean, I think it happens so much. People change and all of a sudden they have to get to know who that person is again. And I think that it's really, really tough. And I think the one thing that I see after 35 years when people getting divorced when they're older like that is they're like, well, I found this woman or I found this man and they're going to take care of me. Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. You need to plan based on your money, what you have, and make it work. You can't count on that. And I think a lot of people are very unrealistic about the grass is always greener on the other side. So I mean, I just tell people, you got to do what you got to do. But like Derrick says, you got to start over. I think the other thing is people don't realize is you got to make sure you were married 10 years to get the Social Security of your spouse. So I think that 10-year rule, you know, if it's 8 years, you need 2 more years. You just need to ride the ride. I mean, I think some of those details are really important. I mean, you see people in second marriages get married, and after a while, oh my God, I'm back to those same set of problems. So I'm not here to do counseling about divorce or marriage, but I'm going to tell you something. Derrick, we see it so often. It really is true. And I mean, people come to tell us and go, I can't stand my spouse. Well, we're here to talk about your money today. You know, we're not Dr. Ruth or anything like that. You know, it's seriously though, it's a huge problem in our society. But if you plan and you plan well and you do that, you can make it work. I mean, you just have to be willing to adjust that. I think while we're talking about that too, Derrick, we need to talk about being widowed. I mean, we see it so often that you look at a couple and one of them makes all the decisions and one of them doesn't make a lot of decisions, and then they lose that person either mentally through Alzheimer's, incapacitated, or widowed. They can't make a decision because that person's not there to nod their head. So I really think that a lot of people just that are big in the market, taking a lot of risk, come to see us and say, the one that's the risk taker, or something happened to him, we need you. We need to have a safe strategy to make sure we don't get wiped out. So I think that a lot of people, as they get older, come see us because they want us to do the heavy lifting. We sit down, we put the plan together, we have it all worked out, but then they have a track to run on. And they're not worried about the market all the time. So I think you need growth in the market, absolutely. But I also think you need safe money. But when we talk about divorce, as we talk about being widowed, Social Security, income planning, estate planning, tax planning, they can make the biggest difference in the next 20 years. Call us at Hoyle. Let us really help you figure it out. If you're thinking about getting divorced, I think you really need to sit down and make a consultation and see what those numbers are going to look like. We've had people come to see us that want to get a divorce. When they realize how bad it is, you know what? I'm not so miserable at home. And I mean, I don't mean that in a laughing manner either. I really mean it seriously. Derrick, 6 years ago, we had a couple come to see us that wanted to get a divorce, and we sat down with them and worked through the details of how they could make it work. And I mean, it was a really neat process. And they're great friends. They just don't want to live together, so they divorced. But you know what? We really made a difference in their financial future.
Well, and Steve, it's funny you say that because I know when I say this, you'll know who I'm talking about. But we have clients that have been with Steve for 20-something years, and kind of the reverse happened. They were thinking about getting a divorce, and so we met with each one of them individually and told them the economic impact of what they're going to do. And that was 8 years or so ago, Steve,
right.
And they are still married today.
Right.
Yeah. And, there's a lot that goes into that. And I will remember this the day I die. This is back when I worked for Bank of America at a bank. And I had a guy tell me, he's like, man, I know I don't have a lot of money and I'm trying to rebuild. He said, but when you take half 3 times, Derrick, there's not a lot left over.
Gosh.
Yeah. He was on his third divorce.
Third divorce.
Yeah. So it's tough. And, one thing that they don't talk about, too, is health care. A lot of times, if you have a married couple, you're on their health plan or vice versa. You get a divorce, all of a sudden, you're having higher health care costs, whether you're still working or, you're not working. There's a lot of factors that go in, including health care, long-term care. Maybe you're relying on a long-term care policy that you had tied to your husband. Well, you're now divorced. Now you have no long-term care. Or you're relying on his assets, to do long-term care. Well, now they're cut in half, and you have some, but they can't create the kind of retirement you want. So there's a lot of factors, Steve, like you said, that go into this. So it really boils down to talking with somebody and sitting down with you.
So if if you're divorced or going through a divorce or really want to explore what the divorce difference is, call us. But I also think if you're widowed or worried about being widowed, how the steps you could take as well to make a difference. It all starts with proper planning. If you need a plan, a track to run on, call us at Hoyle. We've been doing it for 35 years. No matter where you are across the state of Texas or Oklahoma, call us. Let's show you the difference.
Well, it turns out that the rich and famous are just like us. They're relying on a trusted team around them. Former NBA great Shaquille O'Neal has made more money after basketball than when he was actually playing. Over the years, he's owned fitness gyms, car washes, and burger joints, pizza places, and more. And there are a lot of people who ask him to be a part of their next business venture.
I get hundreds a week, and you have to go with the gut feeling. Then I have to give it to my panel. The greatest of leaders are the ones that are smart enough to hire people that are smarter. So I'm not the smartest guy in my camp. I like it. Give it to A, give it to B, give it to C. And if it passes all the channels, then we'll go.
All right. So even though Shaq now has his PhD in education, believe it or not, he still surrounds himself with trusted people to help him make his financial decisions. Derrick and Steve, talk about how you can be that person for your clients and, of course, our listeners.
Yeah, I think Shaq, if you go on YouTube, he has a fascinating story. When he got his first $1 million endorsement deal, he was $80,000 in debt. So this is when he was playing basketball, right? So think about getting millions of dollars and being in debt.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah, and he actually got attached to, and forgive me, I forgot his name, but his financial advisor, I think he was, I can't say his name very well, but Lester Kinspel, which is his financial advisor. And what he did was tell him, okay, so this $1 million endorsement deal you just got, half of that, I don't care what you do with it, have fun. half of it's going towards savings and retirement. But Shaq realized what he needed was an outside person to have a non-emotional approach to it and teach him how to save and put away money. Because, yeah, Shaq is gigantic now. I mean, he sold his shoe line to like Walmart. I mean, he is everywhere. He has investments everywhere. But it started with a frank conversation with a very good advisor who taught him these things and kind of took the reins for him and said, hey, you work and I'll do the rest. I'll help you put together a plan where you don't have to work and play basketball for the rest of your life. And I don't know about y'all, but I would love to make more money in retirement than I make while I'm working.
All day.
Not many of us are like Shaq, but he worked very hard even when he was off the court to get to the point he's at right now.
We see that so much with pro ball players. They're either amazing with money or horrible with money. We see that in our practice every day.
It's just identifying that, right? If you need help with budgeting or you need help with retirement, just don't think you're alone. Don't think you have to stick your head in the sand and just, keep on keeping on. Reach out to somebody, reach out to us. We can help you do that. That's what we do for a living. Big barrier a lot of times is they're like, well, I don't know anything about this stuff. So when I come in your office, I feel like I don't know what's going on. And I said, well, flip that around. If you're an engineer, I have zero idea what you do at your job, right? But if I need something built, I don't contact a financial advisor. I don't sit there and call Steve up, right? I call an engineer. I call somebody who knows what they're doing. Sure. And it goes just in our field of focus.
Well, I also think, too, Derrick, I see a lot of small business owners that are great at what they do. We have a guy that retired from a wholesale food company, and he took all of his retirement and he put it into a place that sold potatoes. I mean, potatoes. And when he did it, I went in to talk to him, and he said about, let's roll your 401k. I ate there all the time. I was kind of heavy back in the day. And Jess, I love loaded baked potatoes. And I'm going to tell you something.
They're fantastic.
I'm going to tell you. I went in and said, you did what? Well, I wanted to say that's the dumbest thing you've ever done. 3 years later, he's moved to a new location. He brings us money every 6 months, every year. He is a great saver. He's great with money. He is the neatest guy. We love doing business with him. And you know what? I'm dying to go in. I'm going to be there next week. I can't wait to go in and eat one of those big old loaded baked potatoes. My trainer is going to lose his mind, Derrick. But I'm going to tell you, he is the neatest guy. But we see a lot of small business people that really start taking that money and making a plan with it. So when they retire, they have lots of different buckets of money to turn on income, keep up with inflation. That's what it's about, Derrick.
Yeah, and small business people are kind of notorious for just hoarding cash. Right?
Yeah, sure.
It's to some level, they have to do that, right? They don't know if they're going to have a bad year or those kind of things. But hoarding cash, even with savings rates being what they are right now, is not a long-term plan. Utilizing that money while you continue to make money, take some off the top and go talk to somebody about, hey, how can I enhance this for retirement? Because if you're a small business owner, your business is only as good as you, right? If you leave... Yeah, I mean, you got to either sell the business or the business goes under, but you're constantly working your butt off. Most small business people, they work 50 to 80 hours a week. And at some point, you want to stop doing that. So put a plan in place where you can utilize those funds and work smarter, not harder.
I think also, Derrick, the great thing, we're going to be start unveiling this on our radio show and our platform, is a tax strategy to help you exit your business and not pay 40 to 50% the first day in capital gains. It's a way to kick those down the road and make them efficient. And I think that's one of the things that we really focus on, is helping small business owners, medium business owners, and large business owners take care of growth for the future and also maximizing when they leave. Derrick, I see a lot of people that come to see us on a partnership, and they're cashing out $20 million, $50 million, but they don't want to pay all the taxes just then. So it's a way to really help people, and we'll be kind of rolling that out on the show and talking about it. And I think it's really important to help people grow money, budget money, but also a great exit strategy.
Yeah, absolutely, Steve. Exit strategy is key there. Please don't call me after you've gotten a check for $10 million. Like, let's plan that out, guys. So,
but still call. If you haven't planned it, you haven't. Call me then, okay?
But you're right. It's all about the planning process, all about having that conversation and getting started. And you mentioned something earlier about enhancing your retirement here. And that goes for investments, opportunities, creating income, protecting your income, growing your income. And we can all talk about it and go, all that sounds like common sense, right? I need to do all that. But then when it comes down to actually doing it, for folks like me and the ones listening, we don't do this every day like you and Derrick do, Steve. I mean, this is a whole different, category of things for us to do. So I know a lot of people come in and they go, look, I know I need to do X, Y, and Z, but I don't even know where to start. Where is the best place to get started if you're brand new to the planning process?
It's a phone call. Pick up that phone and call us because you don't know what you don't know. You don't understand the terms. You don't understand RMDs. You don't understand all these different jargons. Call us. Let's partner together. Let's make a difference. The other thing is we help spouses. We have a lot of spouses that are worried about, am I going to have enough money in retirement? He or she's taking so much risk. Let's sit down. Let's sit down, come together, and make a plan. It all starts with a phone call or going to RetireTexas.com and start texting to us. When that toggle comes up and you start texting to us, we're going to have a live staff member say, hey, how are you today? Let's figure out a time. Let's answer that one question. Pick up that phone and call us. Let Derrick and I take our past 35 years of experience and put it to work for you today.
If you'd like to sit down with Steve and Derrick or a member of the Hoyle Financial Group, visit RetireTexasStyle.com.
Investment advice offered through Hoyle Wealth Management, a Texas-registered investment advisor able to provide investment advice in states where it's registered, exempt, or excluded from registration. Content contained herein should not be construed as an offer or solicitation for investment advice or for the purchase or sale of any security, insurance, or other investment product. Investments involve the risk of loss, including possible loss of principal. Please consult with a qualified financial, tax, accounting, or legal professional before implementing any ideas or strategies discussed here. Content provided is obtained from sources believed to be reliable but cannot be guaranteed as to its accuracy or completeness. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities offered through Steve Hoyle, Texas Insurance License 716036. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. Steve Hoyle is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Steve Hoyle is licensed in your state, please call 806-371-9473.